Hello, welcome to Web of Stories. My name is Melinda, and today is Tuesday, which is Tag Tuesday. And I have a lot of tags I want to do, and I was going to start working through them and really kind of dedicate Tuesdays to tags for a little while until I get caught up. But then this one jumped the queue, not because I was specifically tagged on it, but because it is time sensitive. And this is one that I think I've done every year or close to every year. And it's the quarter year crisis book tag. As I said, I was not tagged in it. It's just one that I do this time of year. I will say that Charlotte at Queenie Reads, I saw her video, which is what spurred me to remind me I needed to do this tag. So she didn't specifically tag me, but she's the one who reminded me. So this is just a tag that I try to do most years where you kind of check in at the quarter year. There is a mid-year one. I think there's a 3/4 of the year one, and I need to remember to do those as well because I think they're good check-ins. Of course, if you want a really detailed check-in, you can see last Saturday I did my March wrap-up and Q1 yearly goals check-in, and I'll tag that one down below. But let me get into this one. It's not a very long video, not a very long tag, so we'll just check in. The first one is, how many books have you read so far? As of March 31st, so at the end of the first quarter, I have read 54. I've since read 2 since then, but 54, which is a little ahead of schedule for me. I'm happy with that number. I have been, in the last year, I've started watching less and less television, which has given me more and more reading time, which is why my number's up a bit. And I'm okay with that, to tell you the truth. There you go. Number 2, have you already found a book you think might be a 2025 favorite? If not, what was your favorite book you read that wasn't quite 5 stars? So I had a lot of 5-star books so far this year, but I went through and I looked at them and none jumped out like this is going to be an all-time favorite. I mean, like, if you get 5 stars, you're like all-time favorite anyway, but none of them jumped out saying this is so much better than the rest of them. So I really don't have a book for this question. The other half of it, is actually going to be answered in a later question. Like if you don't, I do have 5-star books. It's just one in particular I'm saving for another question that's coming up. But so far I haven't had one that was so superlative that it stood out from the other 5 stars. So, but the year is still early. Okay. Number 3, any 1-star books or least favorite book of the year. So if you've seen my wrap-ups, a 1-star book to me is a book I wish I had DNF'd. And so I try not to have any 1-star books because that means I didn't DNF when I should have. But I do have one. And that is When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. So I've read Alyssa Cole before. I've read her romance. I think she's a good writer. So, this is at this book specifically, not at the writer. This was she started to get into the domestic thriller issue. And this one had a really interesting premise, which was sort of gentrification. Like, it's a neighborhood in Brooklyn that's been most recently primarily African-American neighborhood. I think like in the past it had been different communities, but now it's gentrifying and weird things are happening. And I thought that sounded really great. There were some problems with this book, I think story-wise, things that were brought up and then dropped, things that were just a little too weird. One of my biggest problems with this book is that, and I understand this, as Alyssa Cole, you are kind of expected to have a romantic element in it. But I thought in this particular story, the romantic element actually worked against the story. But the biggest thing is I realized I don't like this genre of book especially. I'm not saying I'm against thrillers. I'm not even saying I'm against domestic thrillers, but I tend to have domestic thrillers that are a little bit different. And this one was just not the kind that I like. I did finish it. That's why I got 1 star. I don't rate books I DNF. And I'm not going to get into whether you should or not, because that's a personal choice. But I did finish it. In that, I'm glad I finished it in that I realized I shouldn't be reading these kind of books. So at least I got something out of it. So that was my 1 star so far this year. My most read genre so far. So I went to Storygraph and my top genre is literary, which is not a genre. It's not a genre. So I went to my next 2. which were very, very close, very close. So it's historical and mystery, historical just a little bit ahead. That's not at all surprising if you've watched my channel and you know what I read. Historical fiction and mystery are my two biggest genres that I read anyway, so that's not at all surprising. I do think that I have been reading pretty widely, different genres, which is a good thing, but again, not super surprised with that one. So question 5 is a book that surprised you. And this is the one that I was holding off from that one about the book that, whatever, the question 2, a favorite book that wasn't quite 5-star, although this was a 5-star book, and that is, I left it in the other room. Hold on a second. And I'm back, but without the book. The book is Dinosaurs by Lydia Millet. And the reason I don't have it is because M is far enough later in the dictionary, in the alphabetical order, that it's not in the bookshelf, it's in my stacks, and it just happens to be the bottom book in the stack, and I didn't want to get it out. So I'm going to put pictures up. This is a book I'd never read Lydia Millet before. I didn't expect not to like this book. This was a vacation book for me. I had saved it specifically for my vacation because it's set in Arizona, and I went to Arizona for vacation. I expected to like it. I didn't expect to be wowed by it, but I just really loved this book. It's not plotty, so if you're someone who needs a lot of plot, this isn't a book for you, and that's fine. I can do fine without that. This is more of an introspective book about a guy who's kind of finding, meaning in his life and found family. And it just was, it was beautiful. It was funny in parts. I really need to read more Lydia Millet. I do have one of her books on my e-reader. I have a children's Bible, but she has a lot of other books. So I do have a good backlist to go through. Okay. A book that's come out in 2025 already that you want to read but haven't yet. So I have this one. This is Rose of Jericho by Grecian. This is the follow-up to Red Rabbit. Although from what I understand, from what the author has said, you don't need to read them in order. But I do because I'm not a monster. This is actually not my copy I'm holding up. My copy's upstairs on the bookshelf. I ordered this, and every once in a while, when I order from bookshop.org, they get a little confused and they send me 2 copies of the book that I order, sometimes 3. It's a thing. But then I tell them and they say, okay, we'll just leave the other one, give the other one away or leave it in a little free library. So this is actually Bookish Best Friend's copy. I'm going to give it to her. I'm seeing her later this afternoon. And so I pulled it out of my purse so I wouldn't have to go search and get the other one up. But as I said, this is the follow-up to Red Rabbit, which was a horror book and a Western. So I read it last year for June on the Range. This one is horror and historical fiction. It is not a Western. They are in New England in this one, so not a Western. But I really like the characters. I thought that one was a really interesting book. So I'm expecting much of the same from this one. I'm hoping to get to it sooner rather than later. I'm not sure I'm going to have time to get to it in April, but I think I can probably get through it in Q2. So, okay. One goal you made that you're succeeding at. So if you saw my video from Saturday when I checked in my yearly goals, one of my goals was to read more, or a certain amount, at least 30% of my books by authors of color. I'm not quite at 30%, but I'm close. I'm doing much better on this goal than I did last year. So I think I can easily get up to that. So I'm going to include it as succeeding on it. I think it's really important for readers in the United States, where everything is under attack, unless you're a white guy, to really search out authors who are in groups that are becoming more and more marginalized, which is anyone who's not a white guy, a straight white guy. Like, that's pretty much it. Straight white women, that's probably like the next group you're probably safe in. But I am trying to read books by authors of color. In February, 50% of my books, which was African American History Month, 50% of my books were by Black authors, which I was really happy with. This month is Arab American Heritage Month. I don't think I'm going to get up to 50%, mostly because I don't think I own enough books to get up to that. But I'm going to definitely read some, but I'm really trying to be more mindful of that this year. So that's what's going on with that goal. Okay, and then one goal you made that you need to focus on, and this will surprise absolutely no one, but I made this goal last year and failed miserably at it, and I am not succeeding at it at the moment, although the year is still young and I'm not so far off that I can't turn it around. But I wanted to finish the year with at least one less book on my owned TBR than I started the year with. So let me pull up my thing here and I'll give you the numbers again. So I started the year, well, I'm currently at 885 owned books that I haven't read. That is across print, digital, and audio. And let me tell you, those $1.99 sales on ebooks, they're dangerous. Anyway, I'm up 22 overall, which is not good, but it's still early. I'm really, for most of April, well, okay, so I'm having this little problem with April, is I'm trying to unhaul a lot of books in little free libraries, and I tend to pick up books if I see something that interests me. So I have 3 books so far that I've picked up this year just from little free libraries. That's not helping my number. But other purchasing books, I'm trying to be really careful with that this month. Problem is, on April 25th is the library book sale, the big one. And I stayed away from the last one because I was so far off that goal. I don't know if I'm going to go to this one or not. I want to, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, so let me get back to my thing here. Okay. And the final prompt is some new to new booktubers or bookstagrammers or booktokers for 2025 that you recommend. I'm off TikTok. I'm really bad about following. Bookstagram is a little, I can't make it work with my brain. Like, I'm trying to be better at it. I have a Bookstagram account. I check in on it, but I don't know, it's overwhelming. But Booktube. So I have 3, and they aren't new especially, but they're ones that I think are smaller that I'd really like to recommend that people check out because I've really enjoyed them. So the first one is Michelle at Michelle Lynn Reads. We just did a buddy read together. We read pretty similarly. Our Venn diagram is, it's close. It's like this. But I really like her thoughts on books. And she's just got an interesting, take on things. She does a lot of vlogs, which I like. I usually I do mid-month book bash vlog, and then I do a vacation vlog, and that's about it. But she does a lot of vlogs, so you get to see her life. And I've really enjoyed her videos. The next one is one, I'm not sure how long she's been around, but I have recently found her. I think I saw a video she did on an earlier tag I did, like last year, the Girl Scout cookie tag, and I saw her video there. And I subscribed to her because I've been subscribed to her for a while. But then I'm subscribed to a lot of channels and I can't watch them all. But then with the March on the Moors, she did that tag and we got more into it. And so I've been watching her and I've been really enjoying her videos. And that's Sarah at My Granny Era. She's also really big into history. So I've gotten some good ideas for books from her. And I'm really enjoying her channel. So check her out. And then the final one I have is Patrice at 2 Minutes on Books. So Patrice was following me, and I don't think that she has her public follows because I didn't know she was following me. But she contacted me and said, let's do a buddy read, which is how I found out about her. So we are doing a buddy read this month. By the time you see this video, the buddy read will have started. But her videos are nice and short, and she's got this soothing voice, and she's a really great source if you're looking for books by African-American authors. She's really trying to read primarily African-American authors and more nonfiction. The book we will be buddy reading is this one, or our buddy reading by the time you see it, which is the 272, The Families Who Were Enslaved and Sold to Build the American Catholic Church by Rachel L. Swarns. But I've really enjoyed her videos so far, and more people need to be watching her. So those are my 3. I'm not tagging anyone additionally because, as I said, this is not really like a tag video, like you tag a bunch of people and everyone does it and then it kind of like peters off. It's just one that comes up every year at this time. But I will encourage you to do this tag because I think it's a great way to check in on your goals for the year. So there you go. Like, subscribe, join my Discord, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.